season. They go 0-2 and somehow they get the deal done. Not only does he wins the MVP, and I think, Skip, that year he also won Super Bowl MVP. So Emmitt is very qualified to talk about this. I think the thing is what he's saying, Skip, look, the longer this thing drags out, and you know this, and we've talked about this, Skip, since we found out that Dak was going to get franchise tagging, you thought he was going to get signed because everybody, well, he's going to get it done before the season. He's going to get it done during the season. He's going to get it done immediately after the season. And here we are, and I always thought it was going to be the franchise tag. But the franchise tag creates bad blood because basically what you're telling the player, now, Dak in this situation has no issues off the field. He has no red flag. So that one's off the table. So basically what Dak is deducing from what you're doing to him is saying, you need to see more. You don't believe that you're as good as the money that you're asking for. Now, I've heard Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and even Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless has come on this show every day for 4 years. Dak Prescott is going to win multiple Super Bowls. Jerry and Stephen Jones, he's a franchise guy and can win multiple Super Bowls. Time to get paid. Well, I don't know. He did lose this game against the Saints. He did lose this game against Philly. He didn't play particularly well. I don't like what happened in New England. It's the same thing. I went through it. In the paper, everybody, coaches have said, Shannon Sharp, he's turned himself into a hell of a blocker. I love the way he plays. He plays all the time. Behind closed doors, it's time to get that contract. Well, you know, Shannon, the blocking is not where it needs to be. You're not the complete tight end and such and such. But that's not what you just said. No, I got the papers to prove it. And so what Jerry is doing, Skip, Jerry cannot compete. He can't catch the football. He can't throw a pass. So he looks at contract negotiation as his football. He's playing against said player. And if he wins that, well, I won. Because Dak is looking at it, well, I saw you give Lyle Collins. I saw you give all these linemen. I saw you play Zeke. I saw you play DeMarcus Lawrence. I saw you play Jalen Smith. Now it comes to me. You want to draw a line in the sand and use analytics to why I shouldn't get paid. You're creating a situation, Skip, that you don't need to create, and you're making bad blood with the position that you don't really need to have bad blood with. So Emmitt said, this is not the time to be playing chicken, Jerry. Get the deal done and move on. Dak is going to be what you believe he was going to be when you've been hyping him for the last 4 years. He's going to be that. Now pay the man and keep it moving.
You just said so many wrong things, I don't know where to start. But I'll go to Jerry Jones.
Wherever you like.
I remind you,
Yep.
No owner currently in the National Football League played football, am I forgetting anybody? Played football at a higher level than Gerald Wayne Jones Jr., who was a starting guard for a national championship team at Arkansas, along with his teammate Jimmy Johnson. So my point is, I don't see what you're talking about. Jerry is the other way from what you describe him. He's not trying to lord it over football players because he's a frustrated pro football player. Baloney.
Yes,
he tends to overpay everybody. They're all his sons. He wants to buddy up and rub elbows. He feels like he's one of them. He feels like he belongs in the locker room with them, so he overpays everybody. And I believe he was ready to overpay Dak. You can make a case that the offer that's on the table right now would be more than Dak is worth. But now let's go to Emmitt Smith. You say, Emmitt's right. Just pay the man. Here we go again with yet another ex-player who has no earthly idea what he's talking about. Yesterday, it was the former Eagle, Donovan McNabb. Today, it's one of the most beloved Dallas Cowboys, an ambassador for the Cowboys, Emmitt Smith. And yet you say, Emmitt knows what he's talking about because he went through this. No, he didn't go through the same thing. Wrong again. Let's go back to 92, 93. I was there, just like I was there to cover The Last Dance in 98. I was right in the middle of that contractual squabble and holdout and dispute. Emmitt Smith was coming off back-to-back rushing titles. Emmitt Smith's team had just won the Super Bowl. And in that Super Bowl, Emmitt had been really good because he carried it 22 times against Buffalo for 108 yards, and he caught 6 more passes in that game. And yet, right on schedule, Thurman Thomas, who had lost that game badly to the Dallas Cowboys, who got completely shut down in that game, had 11 carries for 19 yards, in part because Dallas just blew him out and got ahead so quickly. But Thurman Thomas had just gotten a new deal that paid him 13.5 million over 4 years. It sounds like low money, but in those days, 92, going in 93, it was a lot of money. Okay, so Emmitt wanted like $1 more than Thurman Thomas because he's saying, I just won back-to-back rushing titles and beat him in the Super Bowl and badly outplayed him. So he was in the 3rd year of his rookie contract. He had 1 more year to go before he would hit the free agency market. Everything was different then, and yet he just said, I think I deserve more money now, but he still had a year to go on his contract. And to Jerry's credit, he did dig in, but then after they lost the first 2 games, they lost at Washington, they lost to Buffalo at home, 13-10, and Charles Haley took his helmet and literally made a hole in the locker room wall with it. Jerry said, okay, I give up. I'll pay him $1 more. And he paid him $13.6 million to Thurman Thomas's $13.5 over 4 years. So he gave him $100,000 more, and Emmitt was happy. I still didn't think Emmitt got quite enough there, that he deserved more, because he goes on from that point, the rest of that year after missing 2 games, he was the MVP of the regular season and, as you point out, the Super Bowl. And he went on to make 5 more Pro Bowls and become the all-time leading rusher in the history of football. So it was worth the price of admission at that point. Now we get back to Dak. Emmitt's point of view is so simplistic and unrealistic. He's like, you guys don't play chicken anymore. Just get this thing done. They've been trying to get it done for a year and 3 months. They've been playing chicken for a year and 3 months. You can't say, you guys, quit digging in against each other. Quit calling each other's bluff. Emmitt, are you watching what's happening? They've entered the danger zone. It is do not invite them. I've told you again and again, my sources tell me that Dak and his new agent, Todd France, are asking for outrageous out-of-bounds money for a quarterback who is 1-2 in the postseason, 1 home victory in a playoff game, and who last year didn't have his best year. They put up some big numbers. I give you, some were in garbage time, some were empty calories. But in the biggest games, down the stretch at New England, at Philadelphia, Dak didn't play his best. And they went 8-8, and he did not make the Pro Bowl. And now you're talking about the kind of money